So this is a bit different. This is intended as a little special audio since we recently reached a particular milestone on a particular platform. So, essentially what this is my transition story. Well, at least a much shorter version of it, as it can be quite long to explain everything. This audio isn't intended to invalidate experiences that don't equate to what I had. This audio also isn't to validate experiences as the only way to be trans. Instead, this is just what I experienced. Your story could be completely different to mine, but still be a valid trans person. Just because I'm about to tell you a story about me figuring it out pretty young doesn't mean that you have to too. In understanding that, allow me to take you through the transition that made me who I am today. A set of events that caused me to make audios in the first place. Without certain events, Fairy Princess Lucy as we know it wouldn't be a thing. So, while I don't remember much about me being born, of course, my earliest memory out of all my memories was when I was 4. I had a cousin over to visit and play. And for whatever reason, I initiated the idea that I would wear a blanket as a dress and pretend to be pregnant. My cousin played the role of the doctor who helped me deliver the baby. To this day, I don't know how much of a concept of pregnancy and childbirth I even had as a 4-year-old. However, I knew enough that that's kind of how babies work. Once we pretended that I gave birth, I then suggested that my cousin should do my makeup. We didn't have any actual makeup on us, but she waved her hands around and pretended to put on lipstick, blush, that kind of thing. Funny enough, that's how I learned what a lot of these makeup things were called. It's when I learn a lot of things. Maybe more than I realized at the time. As this is a memory that for a while was hard to remember. But it was always lingering. As we move forward, there isn't anything crazy when I was 4 other than this. Other than maybe a couple of photos of me in preschool holding really cute plushies or books that had a female protagonist in it. In particular, a book called Zoe and the Dragon. I believe this is what made me interested in princesses. Hence my username. And I could be wrong, but I think Zoe in that book was also a fairy princess. I could be wrong there. So, preschool's kind of done. And primary school begins. Or elementary school in some countries. I remember that I had a really big crush on this boy that I befriended pretty quickly. So much so that if he liked a video game, I usually bought it. For myself at least. If he liked something, then I wanted to like it. It's a bit funny, but oh well. I remember befriending a lot of girls as my friend group until teachers kind of told me not to do that. Which in retrospect is a bit weird. It was only 2005, but it's what it is. However, we're going to jump a bit far ahead. There's not much really happened beyond vague stories, and according to one of my siblings, I apparently stole a girl's Barbie doll and took it home, and then my parents had to take it back. So apparently, I guess I did a crime. I took a Barbie doll, apparently. I guess I really wanted one. So, around 2007, which is when I was in grade 2, I was given access to the family computer. A cheap little Windows XP computer. I don't know how new of an operating system that was at the time. I don't know when Windows 7 happened, but I quite like the cute little boops and beeps Windows XP makes. It's pretty nostalgic, actually. So, around this time, YouTube was becoming pretty popular. I mean, all my friends were watching YouTube videos. All my friends also had YouTube accounts and would make videos, but I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed an account, so conveniently for me, there was no watch history in the account because I didn't have one. And we watched so many videos that my parents never really checked my YouTube history. And I'd like to point out that around this time, YouTube recommended wasn't as random, I guess. Like, I feel like if you search something, you would get given something pretty similar. But for whatever reason, I typed in boy to girl makeup transformation. That would be the phrase I would type over and over for the next few years. My memory is a bit poor on whether I did this first or I started grabbing my mum's clothes and wearing them. To this day, I don't know what happened first, what caused the other, but for whatever reason, I loved watching people dress up. I wanted to do that. I couldn't find much information on trans people at the time, so I thought I was a cross-dresser, but a full-time cross-dresser. That's what I thought I was when I heard someone say that term. So most of primary school happens, I'm trying to live a regular life while dressing up in girly clothes in the bathroom when no one could see me. I did this for years. Every chance I could, I'd practically be in the bathroom by myself in a girl's outfit. Sometimes I'll use makeup. There were some lipsticks that I was quite fond of. Around this time, I was obsessed with the music made by Selena Gomez. I still kind of am, but anyway. She had this one album cover where she had really bright red lips. I wanted to do that really badly. And one day I found a really bright lipstick hidden in the bathroom, which surprised me because my mom didn't really wear that kind of thing. And I used it a lot. Honestly, I'm surprised no one was suspicious at how much lipstick was being run out by someone else. But yeah, things continued. I kept dressing up, and no one knew. It was my secret, I guess. I received signals subtly that I shouldn't be telling my parents what I'm doing. I don't remember what exactly. I do have a vague memory of being told that if I came home with nail polish, my dad would kill me. I believe that was a joke, but it didn't feel like one. I wasn't exactly the happiest to hear that. So, the last thing to mention with primary school really is I had a DSi XL that had a camera on it, as anyone that owned one of those would know. I didn't really have an iPhone yet. I feel like that were like, you had to be a little richer to get an iPhone for your birthday at that time. At least a little bit, depending on who you were. But I got a DSi XL. And it had a feature that let you Photoshop your face onto images. So if I remember correctly, and I still have these images in fact, I put my face on Selena Gomez images, because of course I did. I also did it on Princess Peach from Mario and Bianca from Pokemon Black and White, because I had a strategy guide at the time. And that's just where I had access to images, I guess. I didn't think of taking a photo of the family computer, Google search, but maybe that was too easy to get caught. But yeah, high school begins. Around this time, I met a girl that would end up being my girlfriend for 3 years. A little bit before high school, but we weren't dating yet. When high school began, I don't know what happened, but I ended up with a friend group of just girls, and I spilt the beans really fast. I made sure to tell all of them that I wanted to be a girl. I didn't know the word trans yet, but I told everyone that I was friends with. I just kept telling people. I was so fearless about it. To this day, I really admire that about myself. The bravery I had as a 12-year-old. 2011 wasn't necessarily the most enlightened time, I guess. But I guess things have come along enough that it was possible. Enough change that I felt like I could do this. And I did. I would go to friends' houses after school and swap into girls' clothes. I was given a brown hair extension that was kind of like a cute ponytail. I happen to be writing a webcomic at the moment about a trans girl that wears a hair extension. This part of my life is what inspired that aspect of her character design. This hair extension was everything back then. I didn't have wigs for a little bit longer, so at the time it was really the thing I used to look like a girl. And something shocked me that day. When I put on those girls' clothes and the hair extension, I looked like a girl. I was indistinguishable. If I was brave enough, I could have walked outside and pretended to be someone else. Minus the voice, but I was shocked. I could have cried. I was so happy. That made me feel hope. That I could do this, that I could be a girl. For real. I still didn't know the word transgender yet. However, I knew I wanted to be a girl really badly. More than anything. To a point where I'd hopefully look into the sky and wish for it every night. I know this breaks the order of the story, but I forgot to mention. Sometime between 2008 and 2010, so when I was still in primary school, I wrote in a little notebook in lead pencil, "I wish I was a girl." I wrote that, and honestly, I didn't find that notebook till I was like 18. Maybe further. I almost forgot I wrote it. I knew for so long, and it was crazy to process that. So back to the high school timeline. I was getting pretty confident in myself. I even started using a girl name and pronouns before I knew the word pronouns, but we did that without knowing, 2012 was a bit different, I guess. um, and around this time, I was getting pretty into anime because my to-be girlfriend really wanted me to watch it. And I got really into it. And I noticed that they had a lot of characters that were assigned male at birth but lived as a girl. While this representation wasn't amazing, it made me really happy. And something made me more confident. And I really went for it, The following few years was a bit tricky. Around this time, I did get with my ex-girlfriend. We had a relationship for 3 years. Because I was dating a girl, I was told a lot to act more like a boy by the friend group that let me dress up as a girl. Their attitude changed once I had a partner, which kind of hurt my feelings. Their relationship continued. First kisses, that kind of thing. I, in retrospect, can see that I started to really hesitate to be myself at this time. I got so close, but around this time, I came out to my parents, and they didn't accept me. I lied in bed and heard my parents cry through the night all the way until the morning because they couldn't handle hearing who I was. And that really scared me. I mean, I was only 12. How could it not? But I kept trying, and I started making my girl clothes thing more something I kept to myself. I had clothes I borrowed from friends that I would hide in my school bag and then bring home. I had a bag with Yoshi on it from Mario. That Yoshi bag was my hidden girls' clothes bag. I had hair extensions. I had a wig I got. It had to all be hidden because my parents told me that they would never allow me to buy any girls' clothes as that would corrupt me or something. Because it would seal it as something I would do permanently if I bought stuff for myself. So eventually I bought stuff for myself. Just secretly. Christmas money, birthday money. Usually went to girls' clothes and some wigs. It was my favorite thing to buy. I mostly got video games through birthday lists and Christmas lists. The money I was given for myself, well, a lot of that went to girls' clothes. I would go with a friend and she would pretend the clothes for her. I'd hand her the money, that kind of thing. We'd just take the risk that it would fit. I could have very easily have dressed in like a girl and walked in and bought it, but I was a bit scared back then. I became scared because of everyone's attitude. This is the hardest part, I think, to explain. But when I was 15-ish, well, I turned 15 during this, but my school had a Japan trip, and it ended up kind of being deeply traumatic, unfortunately. How do I explain this? I've explained this on Twitch streams off the cuff, but I haven't done it like this before. So basically, during this trip, I was feeling some really bad dysphoria. Probably the worst I've ever had. I had to present as a boy, and I couldn't wear girls' clothes in the bathroom like I did. I think that's how I coped back then. But I was in a school trip in Japan in a boys' room in a hotel. How was I meant to do that? One of the guys in the room I was in did know about me dressing up, and he kind of forced me to tell the other person about it. It was kind of uncomfortable. I wanted to go see my friends in the girls' room, but someone in my grade decided to get a bit... Yeah, he did some stuff he shouldn't have. That's all I'll say. And the boys became banned from going to the girls' rooms at all, even when it's daytime and we're just chilling. That really hurt. I was feeling pretty sad, and teachers kept checking in on me, but I just couldn't tell them why. Anytime I did say something, I usually got in trouble. So, a couple of days into this trip, just by coincidence, my girlfriend at the time broke up with me. Not for anything malicious. Actually, I respect her a lot for it. Simply put, she wanted a boyfriend, and I was anything but. She acknowledged that, and maybe it's because of how I was feeling at the time. I don't know. I think I tried to push myself to be someone else just for that relationship. Ultimately, it slowed down my transition, but I'm glad she was really nice about it. I really respect how she approached things. And coincidentally, we're on good terms, but we don't really see each other anymore. But I'm thankful she was nice to me around then. So we broke up at a shrine in Kyoto, the one you see in all the tourist brochures. And now whenever I see Kyoto, I think of that. Which is kind of awkward because later in life I lived a bit near there. I think the moment that really cemented me wanting to be a girl was we had to visit these high schools in Japan. And honestly, I literally did a stand-up comedy routine on Twitch of me recounting the exact events of this part. But basically, just know that because I was a bit taller, at least in Japan, every single girl in that school would run up to any of the tall visitors, me and a couple of other people, and would ask if they have a girlfriend. Every 10 seconds. They were only asking this because they viewed me as a boy. I didn't like this at all. It didn't feel right with me. I felt really sad, and I had nowhere to really run to because you had to do the trip. I washed my hands with a towel some girl gives me, and then when I hand it back to her, she practically grips it tightly, sniffs it, and runs away squealing. It really creeped me out. I understand it was a school of people that were teenagers. That, I don't know, I feel like I would have been uncomfortable even if I was cis. That's all I'll say on that trip. That was probably the hardest few days of my life, so I'll keep it vague with that one. Just know it was a really bad time. It was really, really bad. I remember the thing that kind of kept me feeling okay was, if I remember correctly, Um, in the hotel room, all I did was play Pokemon X and Y on my 3DS. I think playing a game where I could dress in girly outfits and be my cute Pokemon really got me through it. That's probably why I'm so attached to this franchise even today. I mean, this is the franchise I picked. Well, it was the first time I was asked if I was a boy or a girl. And I picked girl even when I was 8, so I guess it's important to me. So we're rushing through things a bit at this point. Near the end of high school, which is 2017. At this point, I fully swapped to a girl name with friends. I would wear girls' clothes whenever we weren't at school. I got in trouble at school because I kept asking teachers to use female pronouns. And then I get sent to the principal's office for a teacher harassment. But all I did was ask for some pronouns. Figures. But that was a tough time. I still didn't give up though, which I admire a lot of myself. It was tough too because, well, I was going through the wrong puberty. In a way, I felt like I was watching myself wither and fade into nothing. I couldn't imagine any adult life because I didn't know if I'd get that far. I'm glad I did though. That wasn't easy, and if I wasn't able to dress up in that bathroom for a decade, I don't know what I would have done. But around 2016, 2017, I got pretty good at dressing up. If I say so myself. But I started going to the shopping centers in girls' clothes. I started going to the movies in girls' clothes. I went to friends' houses even more in girls' clothes. And around this time, boys around me were getting interested in me, and that was a really different feeling. And I kind of liked it. I think it was the validation, but I mean, I don't really factor gender into my attraction. Boys are cool, girls are cool, non-binary people are cool, that kind of thing. But yeah, things are starting to change, really. I was presenting as a girl more, and I was treated more like a girl. I think the bravest thing I did was on the last day of high school. It was like a costume day kind of thing, and we could wear whatever we wanted. I still have the photo, but I came in a maid outfit. And oh, that was so fun. Oh my god, that was so fun. That was the best day of high school. 11 out of 10. Thank you. That's great. I'm so glad I got that moment. I'm so glad. Like, wow, that was amazing. And just like that, high school's over. Unrelated to my gender, a lot of my friend groups kind of broke down. And some of them ended up being transphobes, unfortunately. And that made things a bit hard, especially because the first person I ever told that I wanted to be a girl, well, she ended up being a transphobe. And she was the person I got all my clothes from, and yeah. It's one of those things. However, university provided something kind of new. University is a lot more flexible, really. So because of that, I started to wear pretty girly clothes. I, grew out my hair. I wore makeup all the time. That kind of thing. The friend group I started with was people from my Japanese class because I had to do Japanese online. Um, it's kind of funny to think that online learning existed in 2017, but no one else in my school wanted to do Japanese, so it was just me. So because of that, um, yeah, I started with that group, but they all ended up being transphobes. um, they only liked me because I didn't have a backbone to tell them to stop being transphobes. So, that didn't work out. I started getting more into the internet and making online friends. I met this one group, and long story short, didn't go very well. So, sometime in university, I was kind of on my own for a bit. And then I tried living in Japan because that's what everyone wanted me to do. Because I was always the person who studied Japanese. So I tried living in Japan for a university exchange, and I won't go into specifics, but I didn't enjoy it, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong though. The place is beautiful, there's nice food. Arcades are like so fun, if a bit overstimulating. But it wasn't really Japan I fell in love with. It was the freedom I got through studying Japanese, the independence I gained from my Japan trips. I ignored that the sound of a Japanese school bell reminds me of those really bad trips. So I went back to Australia. And at this time, it was the year of 2020. Quite a few years. I would have been 21 at the time. I could have easily have gotten hormones or something because I was over 18, but my parents kept telling me no, and I didn't have the bravery to say no, I'm doing it anyway. So that didn't quite happen. However, around 2020, 2020 happened. So I managed to get a gender counselor, and I got to finally start hormones. I acknowledge my passing privilege, so me starting around this time didn't really affect much. I got all the effects I wanted, and I started voice training, and somehow that led to me doing the kind of content you're listening to right now. So that answers how I transitioned, but it didn't answer why I do Fairy Princess Lucy stuff. Throughout my teenage years, puberty has of course led to the body desiring things and the body needing to release those things. And the process of doing that never felt right with my body. It always felt wrong. But it was like some urge that like bugged you until you did it. I used to hate that stuff. I mean, with testosterone in the body, I would still hate that stuff, but now that I was on estrogen, I felt a bit better about it. But I think what would have helped me back then was audio content that reassured me that I'm allowed to be myself. I'm allowed to enjoy what I enjoy. Whatever internet videos I listen to or watch, I'm still me, and I deserve to live as myself, a girl. And if that's what you want, you deserve that too. I guess the reason Fairy Princess Lucy as a brand, I guess, and content exists is I'm at least trying to be the kind of person that I needed a really long time ago. In all sorts of ways. That I really needed a role model. I needed to see someone doing what I'm doing. I needed to feel safe. And like I wasn't bad for being like this. What I want to do is to make the kind of audio that would make someone feel a bit better about who they are. And not make them feel like they have to be someone else for the sake of someone else. I can't change my past as much as I think about it. But I think some things worked out. Funny enough, I imagined that I wouldn't ever make stuff like this. I didn't expect to be doing this. On some platforms I make not safe for work content, and some places I make safe for work only content, but I used to be really ashamed of that kind of stuff. Now I feel better about it, and I want other people to feel better about the stuff they enjoy. I know I can't change the past, but maybe I can make someone else's transition story a little better. Just like the YouTube videos I watched when I was a little kid. The boy to girl makeup videos. Maybe I could be like that for someone else. If I can do that, then I'll be happy, I think. I know this story sounds depressing, but I want you to know that because I never gave up and I kept trying, I'm actually the happiest I've ever been. And it feels good to say that. I was always a girl. I knew pretty early too. But whether I knew back then or not, the girl was always inside. I love being myself, and I look forward to every day. I went for a walk the other day and saw some really pretty flowers. I was wearing some cute short shorts and nice outfit, color coordinated, had my hair out, being cute. Life's good. So even at your low points, know that things can become better. I know this audio is a bit, long, but I hope this story is inspiring or helpful in any way. I left out, 2 decades worth of detail, but that's what happened. Pretty much. If anyone gets that reference, I'll be so impressed. Anyway. So, thank you so much for listening. I am really thankful I get to do this, and I'm so thankful that I'm still here. I very easily couldn't have, but I held on to everything that made me myself. And that's the beautiful part about being alive. Being yourself, breathing air, and being able to talk to others and know that they see you. The you that's on the inside. The little thing that happened to be in my pants never mattered. It upsets me sometimes that I can't quite change it easily, but I'm happy to be here. And I can actually imagine my future. I can imagine where I'll be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that kind of thing. I look forward to staying and being here for a really long time. And if someone listening to this made a boy to girl makeup video in the early 2000s, I probably saw that video. And I want to say thank you for making that. You saved a little girl's life and allowed her to be an adult. Without those videos, I don't know where I'd be. And I'm really thankful for everything. The parts that feel good, the parts that hurt. Because that's why I'm myself. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. That was probably the most difficult thing I've recorded. But in a good way. Feels good, actually. Oh, wow, I really did record for 43 minutes straight. Wow. Voice training paid off, I guess. My throat doesn't even hurt. I'm actually really happy about that. Oh, right. Outro. Okay. If you're at any stage of transition, know that you deserve to be yourself. No matter what anyone says. It'll work out. I believe in you. Okay? And I'm proud of you. I'm sure if older trans women were able to see me back then and know I was there, they would have been proud of me too. And I like to hope that people are proud of me now. Stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll be real. I love saying that.